New moons are all about new beginnings, but this one is a little different. Rather than focusing on starting something brand spanking new, this new moon is urging us to work on and perfect what we've already been doing. In this video, I'm going to be discussing everything you need to know about the upcoming new moon in Virgo and what you can do to make the most of it. So stick around, you don't want to miss it. What's up, guys? As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new here, my name is Mel. I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. All right, so today's video is all about the upcoming new moon in Virgo happening on Saturday, August 27th at 4:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you know the deal with new moons. I feel like I almost don't even have to repeat this, especially if you've watched any of my other moon series videos. New moons are all about new beginnings. It's when we plant new seeds and we set new intentions. It's when the lunar cycle restarts, and in a way, so can we, which is like the dope thing about new moons, because it allows us to reinvent ourselves. It allows us to, commit to new goals, new ambitions, all of the newness, right? That's the energy of the new moon in a nutshell. Now, the thing with this new moon, like I mentioned before, is that it's a little different. So rather than having the energy of starting fresh, starting something new, going after something we've never had before, the new moon in Virgo is all about perfecting what we already have. It's about work, it's about consistency, and it's about approaching old things in a new way, right? So pretty boring. If you compare the new moon in Virgo to, like, let's say the new moon in Aries or Leo, you're going to find that it's very different. Aries and Leo, it's all about fire. It's all about creation. It's all about drama, romance, passion. Whereas Virgo is like, all right, let's get to work. Let's roll up our sleeves, put our nose to the grindstone, and work on things that we've already established, right? And in doing so, we're able to not only approach things in a new way, but we're able to provide some sort of stability and security in our life, which is something that is very important to Virgo, okay? And speaking of Virgo and all of that Virgo energy, one of the major themes of this new moon is going to be the concept of perfection, right? So don't get it twisted. Perfection in this sense is not about being perfect or being the best. It's about being better. It's about putting the work in to be better than you were yesterday. Hence why this new moon is a little boring. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the things that you need to know for this upcoming new moon in Virgo. And don't forget to stick around until the end, because I'll be pulling some cards and giving us a message from Spirit. All right, so let's get into it. All right, first things first, let's just put it out there. This new moon is going to be boring as hell, but also very productive. Life can't always be roses, rainbows, and having fun, right? A lot of times we have to get serious and diligent about the things that we want and the things that we want to have. And that's exactly what this new moon in Virgo is all about. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't necessarily have to be completely boring, especially if you love what you're doing. But the whole point of this new moon is to perfect what you're already doing, to do old things in a new way so that you can have stability and security in your life. Now, Virgo is a practical earth sign. So although Virgo isn't idealistic or exceptionally passionate, Virgo loves to have real tangible results, right? And you only get that by being consistent and putting in the work. Now, Virgo also concerns itself with things like health matters and being of service. So wherever this Virgo new moon is going down in your chart, this may be where you want to get healthier, whether it's your physical body or even your mental body. This may be where you want to be more of service or be of better service, right? To the people around you, to the people at work, perhaps to your family, so that you can have long-lasting relationships. Again, it all depends on when Virgo, or it all depends on where, it all depends on where this new moon in Virgo is going down in your chart. But rest assured, if you're not willing to put in the hard work, you cannot expect stability and security, all right? So while this isn't gonna be fun and glamorous, it is gonna give you the chance to set yourself up for future success, all right? So keep that in mind when you're putting in all that hard work. Next, this new moon is all about consistency and stability. This is pretty much piggybacking off of my last point, but consistency can sometimes be a dirty word to some people, and I'm pretty sure you know what I mean, right? We're always looking for that next dopamine hit, right? We're always looking for the new hack, the new technique, the new rule. It's all about the new, and new, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, because at some point in time, we all all need a little newness, right? We need a burst of new energy to get something done. But once you have that idea, once you have that passion, once you have that desire, what do you do next? You have to be consistent with the things that you do, okay? Now, one of the hallmarks of Virgo energy is that it relates to our daily routine. So if you don't know about the actual story of Virgo, right? Virgo is in reference to the Vestal Virgins back in the ancient Greek Empire. And their job basically was to tend to the temples of the different deities. So depending on what the deity required, they would have to do it on a daily basis, okay? And one of their jobs was to feed the fire. They had to keep the fire going all day. And if they didn't do their job well, they were actually thrown into the fire. Hence why Virgos are very much concerned with perfection, because if you don't do it right, you feel like you're gonna get killed. Although that may not be the realistic example, I think under the surface, subconsciously, that's how Virgo energy works, right? So it's all about consistency. It's all about doing things on a daily basis. And that's not something that people like to hear because people love instant gratification. And the new moon in Virgo is like, great, we're making our way to this goal. We have this desire, perfect. But are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to be consistent in order to make that happen? So this full moon, this new moon may find many people feeling a bit uncomfortable or feeling a bit frustrated because you want that burst of new energy. You want immediate results. You want that instant gratification, that dopamine hit, right? And Virgo is like, yeah, I'm not giving that to you unless you work for it, unless you put in the work, unless you're diligent, unless you're consistent. That's the only way you're sort of going to get to your goal. Now, it's not necessarily the only way, but it's a major part of what it takes to get the things that we want, okay? So if you're not willing to be consistent, again, you can't expect spectacular results. You may not even be able to expect results at all. And you definitely won't reap the rewards of that consistent hard work, all right? So if there's anything that you take away from this video and from this new moon in Virgo, it's that you need to be consistent. That's the only way to get to your end goal. All right, so moving right along, the next thing that you need to know about this new moon in Virgo is that it's all about mental strength and using your intuition. So in order to understand this point that I'm trying to make, we need to take a little deep dive into the numerology of the number 4. Now, the number 4 is significant because the new moon is happening at the 4th degree of Virgo. And the energy of this new moon plus the numerology of the number 4 couldn't be like a better match, right? Because in numerology, the number 4 is associated with strength, efficiency, moving forward conservatively rather than progressively, relying on the tried and true, working hard. Like all of the things I've described basically about that Virgo energy is repeated when it comes to the number 4 in numerology. Now, what's interesting is that in tarot, the number 4 is associated with the card of the Emperor. And while the Emperor can be very fiery, right? Because it's also associated with the sign of Aries, by and large, the Emperor card is all about being strategic. And this is definitely evident within the energy of this new moon. Now, Virgo doesn't work just for the sake of working. You're never gonna find Virgo just doing busy work just to, keep themselves busy. Virgo is all about having a strategy, having a process, having an order to things in order to work more efficiently. And so with this new moon, wherever this is falling in your chart, you're going to want to be mentally adept. You're going to want to have a lot of mental strength, and you're going to want to be strategic with how you work. It's all about working smarter, not harder. If you can find a better way to do something, a faster way to do something, a more peaceful way to do something even, that is going to be the best use of your energy with this new moon in Virgo. Now, astrologically speaking, the number 4 is associated with the sign of Cancer because Cancer is the 4th sign of the zodiac. Now, while you may be thinking that Cancer couldn't be any more different than Virgo, right? Cancer is all about our emotions. It's all about sensitivity. It's all about, being intuitive and all that stuff. By and large, Cancer is also very much concerned with security and protection, particularly when it comes to the home and family. So suffice it to say, I feel like the energy of this new moon also has this undercurrent of security to it. And not in the way that I was talking about before, right? Security and stability is all about, creating something that'll last the test of time. But it's also this element of being a bit protective over your work. You may not want people really interfering with what you're doing. You may not necessarily want people to be giving their input input on how you should work or what you should be doing. You sort of have to be alone in the trenches, figuring things out by yourself and making them work. I feel like that's definitely how that Cancer energy, as associated with the number 4 plays into this. Also, in terms of astrology, the number 4 is associated with the planet Uranus and the sign Aquarius. And again, I'm pretty sure you're thinking, wait, Aquarius energy is very different from Virgo. Whereas Virgo is all about, the tried and true, things that are real, things that you can prove via evidence. And Uranus and Aquarius are definitely out there, right? It's all about the cosmos, unpredictability, thinking outside the box. And this is where your intuition comes in. So apart from just using your mental strength in order to work to get ahead, I feel like the energy of the number 4, as associated with Uranus and Aquarius, is all about listening to your intuition. So definitely during this new moon, if you get certain intuitive nudges, if you get flashes of insight, don't ignore those, because I feel like those are definitely there to help you and guide you towards working with a purpose. Because again, Virgo doesn't put in work for no reason. Virgo is efficient and Virgo has an order to things. But understand that order may be a little chaotic at first. You know that phrase, there's a method to my madness? I feel like that's one of those phrases that definitely applies to this new moon. So long story short, you're definitely going to want to listen to your intuition, flashes of insight, and allow spirit in to sort of help you, right? Don't think that you can handle everything on your own. I feel like the fact that this is happening at the 4th degree of Virgo signifies the fact that we need to leave room for spirit to sort of come in and help us, or come in and guide us. And again, that's where your intuition comes in. All right, so next up on our list of important things to know for this upcoming new moon in Virgo is the fact that things may be a little challenging. All right, in terms of the astrology for this new moon, the new moon is going to be square to Mars in Gemini. So at the time of filming this video, Mars just recently went into Gemini the other day, okay? And so it's going to form a square to the sun and the moon that are both going to be in Virgo, thus causing this new moon, okay? And Mars is going to present some challenges, particularly mental challenges when it comes to this new moon, okay? So it's important to understand that with Mars in Gemini, our thoughts may be scattered. Not only will they be scattered, but we're gonna have a lot of them. You're gonna have this undercurrent of energy to start 1,000,001 new things. That's sort of the essence of Mars in Gemini. And if you wanna know more about Mars in Gemini, particularly what it means for your particular sign, I'll leave in the description box below a link to a blog post that I just wrote the other day. So check that out if you wanna know more about that. But like I was saying, you're gonna have a lot of thoughts, they're gonna be scattered, you're gonna be easily distracted, and you're gonna wanna start 1,000,001 things. So it's gonna give you this sort of air of being unfocused. So while you have this energy at your disposal via the new moon of being able to work, being efficient, being of service, being diligent, all of that stuff, I feel like your mind is gonna be in 1,000,001 places, you're gonna be easily distracted, you're gonna wanna start 1,000,001 things. Essentially, it's like you're gonna have ants in your pants. Rather than being able to sit down, focus, and do what you need to do, you're gonna be looking for the next dopamine hit. You're gonna be looking for that next new hack or new technique or new way of doing something, right? So on the one hand, your mind is gonna be like, I want that newness, I want that new energy, whereas the energy of the new moon is like, nope, I need you to sit down and I need you to focus and I need you to put your nose to the grindstone, roll up your sleeves, and get to work. So it's important that you're able to sort of work through this Mars and Gemini energy. So I suggest that you try to remove all distractions. Much like, sort of like piggybacking off what I said before, you're not gonna want too much input into what you're doing. So maybe this isn't the best time to be telling people what you're doing or asking people for advice on how to work. You really just sort of need to sequester yourself and get the job done and try to eliminate as many distractions. Stop researching, stop watching videos, right? Understand and appreciate the fact that you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing, you can do it, and you have the power to do it, most importantly. So you don't need a lot of outside stimuli. You don't need a lot of outside influence in order to get the job done, all right? But this will provide a pretty challenging start, right? Rather than having laser-like focus, you're gonna feel all over the place. So it's really up to you to focus, sort of get tunnel vision and laser-like focus on what it is that you wanna accomplish and what you need to work on. Moving right along, the next thing that you need to know for this this upcoming new moon in Virgo is that you should use the power of the cosmos to your advantage. All right, so let me explain what I mean by that. So shortly before the new moon in Virgo on the 27th, Uranus is going to be going retrograde in Taurus on August 24th. All right, and this is important because Uranus retrograde means that the chaotic energy, the energy of surprise, of unexpected happenings is going to be sort of quieting down a bit. So things aren't necessarily going to be as chaotic, as crazy. And this is a good thing, not only because, you don't have to feel like you have to brace yourself all the time, but it allows you to harness the energy of the cosmos, right? This is more so about understanding how the cosmos works. This is about things like astrology. This is about things like the occult, but it's almost like you can take the power of the universe and use it to your advantage because it's not so chaotic, right? And this sort of bodes well with what I was saying before. I feel like those intuitive nudges that you may be feeling, those flashes of insight, really use those to your advantage, because I feel like that sort of Uranus retrograde at work, allowing you to move forward without all of the chaos, okay? So it's really important, again, to listen to your intuition, follow those intuitive nudges, allow yourself to think about things, allow yourself to be inspired, and leave room for spirit so that things can sort of work out even better than you had anticipated. So again, intuition is going to be key here. It's not just about, thinking about things and putting in the physical work. Your intuition is going to be key to success with this new moon in Virgo. All right, so here's the quick and dirty on everything you need to know for this upcoming new moon in Virgo. Number one, while it may be boring, this can be a very productive time. So you're being urged to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Number two, consistency is the key to success. This isn't about starting 1,000,001 new things. It's about perfecting and being efficient with what you've already started. Number three, it's going to be important for you to rely on your mental strength and rational thought. Think and act like the emperor. Be strategic in the work that you're doing. Number four, expect some challenges, especially when it comes to your mind. You're going to be easily distracted and you're going to want to start 1,000,001 new things. Resist the urge to do that, reduce distractions, and just simply get to work. And number five, rely on your intuition and those intuitive nudges. Don't ignore any flashes of insight, dreams, or any sort of quote unquote spiritual messages. I feel like they're here to help you and they're here to guide you to where you want to be. So as promised, I pulled a couple of tarot cards for us in order to get a message from spirit. So if you've made it this far into the video, comment below with a new moon emoji so I know that you're still here and I know that you're still watching. All right, so what's interesting is that, of course, I did my shuffle and I was getting ready for this reading and I immediately felt anxious. Like I felt this energy of just like, hurry up, like you got to get this done. I was thinking of 1,000,001 things I had to do later on in the day, things I needed to accomplish for the week. Like my mind just immediately became flooded with 1,000,001 things I had to do. And it's almost like I had to stop for a second. I literally did stop for a second. And I said, okay, I need to be present. First of all, I need to concentrate, right? Because I need to concentrate on this reading, but I need to just slow down and figure out what I need to do. So what I actually ended up doing was I stopped recording and I sat for a moment and thought about, okay, I'm going to carve out this time to do this reading. But then I'm going to order my day like this, that, and the third. And of course, I feel like that's how many of us are going to feel with this new moon. Like I said before, with Mars currently in Gemini, I feel like our minds are going to be all over the place, thinking of 1,000,001 things we have to do, we want to accomplish. I know, me personally, over the last even couple of weeks before Mars has even entered Gemini, I've been super on like overdrive mode, thinking about all I want to accomplish, getting ready for the fourth quarter of the year, trying to do 1,000,001 things. And I think that one of the things that we're going to have to do during this new moon is to stop, think, and recalibrate. Just like I said before, with the number 4, as it is associated with this new moon, you got to be like the emperor, right? You have to be strategic. It's not working just to work or scattering your energy all over the place. It's really about focusing, being strategic, and working smarter, not harder. All right. And it's funny because, of course, the cards reflect this message as well. So the first card we have out, and I know people aren't going to like this too much, it's patience. Ugh. I love the fact that there's this red balloon here though. You know why? Because it signifies like root chakra, signifies things that are stable. It also represents security, right? So like I said before, and I feel like I've been getting this message a lot lately, a lot of us want that instant gratification. Manifest something in 3 days, make $150,000 in a month. We're inundated with these images, with these videos all the time. And it almost makes us forget that we need to be patient. Patience and consistency is what's going to lead to success, particularly with this new moon. So even if you are starting something new right now, please don't expect it to come to fruition tomorrow or next week. This is something that you're going to have to work at and something that you're going to have to practice patience with, right? I love the fact that the number 4 is also associated with the sign of Cancer, because Cancer is all about nurturing, and nurturing takes time. You have to nurture, you have to coddle the things that you're trying to accomplish. And it's not about accomplishing something in one day. It's sort of playing the long game here. One of the things I forgot to mention before is that one of the messages I got is that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And if you've ever ran a marathon before, I personally haven't, but I've been able to, learn from other people's experiences, is that obviously you have to train for it, right? You don't just wake up one day after being out of shape for years and just run a marathon. You have to train consistently. You have to get your strength up. You have to get your endurance up. You have to get your stamina up, right? And that takes work. That takes consistent work. It may take you several months to train for a marathon. It may take you several years to train for a marathon. But the only way that you're going to be able to cross that finish line at the end of those 26 miles is if you had put in the consistent work for those months, for those weeks, for those years, right? And that's exactly what we're being urged to do and to remember with this new moon in Virgo. The next card we have is Wisdom, right? And I love this because this sort of speaks to what I was talking about before in terms of the number 4 being associated with Uranus, right? So it's not just about using your mental strength and rational thought, although I feel like that is definitely a significant part of the energy of this new moon. Relying on your wisdom, and wisdom comes from experience, and experience is gained over time, right? Again, that energy and that theme of consistency is all up and through the energy of this new moon, right? Rely on your wisdom. And I love the fact that this is a number 22, because 22 reduces to what? A 4. And again, 4 is like the magic number for this new moon. 4 also represents stability. So in terms of reaching that finish line, right? You got to be patient, number 1. And you have to be wise. And wisdom is not just, things you learn, knowledge that you gain from books. Is through experience, right? And the Emperor is not only strategic, but the Emperor or Empress, right? But in Tarot, the number 4 is associated with the Emperor card. The Emperor is strategic and wise, and that is what you are being urged. That's the energy that you're being urged to tap into with this new moon. And then we have Beauty. And immediately when this card came out, the first thing I heard was enjoy the journey. The journey itself is beautiful. The work that you're putting in is beautiful. Appreciate yourself for the work that you're putting in. Enjoy where you're at. Don't just think about the end goal. Don't just think about what it'll be like to cross that finish line. To go back on my example of training for a marathon, right? After a little while of training, right, you notice your body start to change. Even if you've, trained, you weight train, or you've been on a weight loss journey, isn't it beautiful how your body changes throughout the process? You start off looking one way and feeling one way, and your body sort of morphs into something new because you put in that work, you put in that constant work, right? Now you're starting to notice muscles, you're losing fat, you're getting a 6-pack, your ass is a little more perkier, right? Isn't that beautiful, seeing that evolution? That's sort of the energy that you need to carry with you, because whatever you're doing now at this new moon, trust and believe, this is going to carry you into months, perhaps into next year, right? Because we're not going to necessarily see the fruits of our labor right now. Actually, we're not going to see the fruits of our labor right now. And so the journey is beautiful. Enjoy it. Appreciate those little milestones that you reach along the way. That's what's going to keep you motivated, okay? So keep that in mind. And then with the tarot, we have the Fool card. So this is all about a new beginning. This is that new moon energy, okay? And I love this because the Fool card, it denotes sort of letting go. It denotes surrendering, is take a leap of faith. And this goes back to what I was talking about, Uranus, right? Leaving room for spirit, taking a leap of faith, following your intuition are they're as important as being mentally strong and strategic and relying on your rational thought and actually putting in the physical work. So again, there's this mental and sort of spiritual element to this new moon that cannot be ignored, right? And tapping into both of those is what is going to assure your success. And then finally, we've got courtship. And if you notice, it's also a number 4. It was funny because when I pulled this card, it was like, you're dating success or you are courting stability. So this lets me know that we are at the beginning stages of this very secure foundation. We're sort of getting comfortable with the idea of being stable and being secure. We're getting comfortable with the fact that if we put in that constant work, that consistency, that stability is going to be ours, right? Stability is going to... Courtship is what leads to marriage, right? You don't just, well, let me not say that, but generally speaking, courtship leads to marriage. It's a process. You got to start out small and work your way up to something a little more serious. And that's where we're at right now. We may be starting small. We may be at the beginning stages, but keep your eyes on the prize, number 1, and know that security and stability are yours, okay? You just got to put in the work to get there. And you may feel like there's such a huge gap between where you're starting and where you need to be, but it's that consistent day in, day out activity, working smarter, not harder on a consistent basis that's really going to assure your stability, all right? So I feel like I can't reiterate this enough, but this new moon is all about putting in that work. It's also going to be about listening to your intuition, leaving room for spirit in order to have the stability and the security that you so desperately want and that you very much deserve. All right. So get to work with this new moon. It will definitely pay off in the long run. All right, my loves. So that concludes this video on the upcoming new moon in Virgo. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use to move forward. And if so, please don't forget to hit that like button. For all of my products and services, those links are going to be in the description box below. So don't forget to check those out. Thank you so much for watching. Happy new moon in Virgo, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.